Hello and welcome, I'm Saffron from saffronandamazes.com, and today we're going to be looking at how you can use EFT if you're feeling angry with the patriarchy. So for me, since I started the Healing Womanhood group, I've felt this anger with all of the ways that we've been held back and the limitations that have been put on us, all of the judgments and the very subtle things that you might not necessarily notice until you shine a light on them. And it's just made me realise how much of a disadvantage we're at, and that has brought up a lot of anger. And this is an anger that's kind of dependent on seeing the patriarchy as something outside of yourself, and we're going to come back to this idea in the second half of the video. But in the first half of the video we're just going to give some time and space to the feelings that come up to begin with. So a little bit more about the second half of the video. We're going to talk about the patriarchy as something that is in all of us. It's the way that society has been for a long time. It's not something that one person or one group is doing to another. It's the way that we all think, and something that we all need to unpick for ourselves, and so we'll work on that in the second half of the video, which brings us back to a place where we've got a little bit more control over what we're doing, which is always a positive thing. We can focus on the bits that we can change. But to begin with, let's work on the feelings of anger that might have come up for you so far, or maybe they haven't, but just let's tap and see what comes up. So if you haven't followed one of these videos before, all you need to do is tap where I'm tapping and repeat what I'm saying. So we're going to begin here on the side of the hand. So even though I'm beginning to feel all of this anger, as I realise the effects of the patriarchy and all of the ways that I've been held back, and that my sisters and friends and my mother have been held back, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though this feels like a really big realisation, how could I have not noticed that all of this was going on? When now that I'm looking at it, it seems so huge. I love and accept myself exactly as I am. Even though I'm full of so much anger, when I think about all of the restrictions that have affected my life, the subtle imbalances, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. And we'll move around the points, so just copy up where I'm tapping and what I'm saying. I feel this imbalance now. I might not have noticed it before, but now it seems so glaringly obvious that I wonder how I didn't spot it earlier. It makes me so angry to think about the ways that women have been treated, and the ways that we're still treated now, sometimes without even realising it. I'm filled with this anger at the patriarchy for everything that it's done to me and to all of the women that I know. I'm so angry about it. I've been so restricted without knowing it, in so many different ways. So many subtle things that have kept me in my place. so many assumptions about what I should be doing with my life, about how my life should be managed. And some of those assumptions have gone in and held me back in all kinds of ways. All of this anger with the patriarchy. This isn't a new thing. It's been holding women down for millennia. And to begin with, I thought we were out of that now. The law makes us equal. So I was led to believe that we have equality. And it's just not the case. There are so many areas where we don't have equality. Even the gender pay gap is still with us. Such a glaring inequality. Such obvious discrimination. It's really difficult to get my head around it. There are inequalities everywhere I look. And it fills me with all of this anger. All of this rage. So much frustration. I don't know what I can do about it. All of these inequalities that surround us, that run through our lives, we might not be allowed to discriminate anymore. But it doesn't stop people from doing it. From making assumptions about who should do what. From putting the burden of childcare on women. The burden of housework on women. And still expecting us to do everything else as well. Even while we continue to have fewer opportunities. Even when the reality of our needs is not considered. Even as we're expected to be linear. To be constant rather than cyclical. The skills that are unique to women haven't been valued for a long time. The natural way that women can exist hasn't been valued for a long time. We're led to believe that we have equality. But in reality, all we have is an invitation to compete on men's terms. Not a world that accommodates our way of being. We're always going to be at a disadvantage there. So many of us work twice as hard just to prove that we can compete with men. We often do so much better without being given the credit. fills me full of all of this anger and all of this rage. I want to see a world that accommodates women. A world designed around women's nature, where intuition and creativity are valued, where kindness and nurturing are valued. These feminine qualities that we all have inside us could bring so much value to the world. And yet they just haven't been valued. A world that respects these qualities, that respects the ebb and flow of energy, is the world that we need going forwards. It's time for us to create this world now. But it feels such a huge task. The patriarchy is everywhere. And so many of us, women and men, just don't see that it's there. It's been so entrenched in our way of life for such a long time now that we don't even see it anymore. As we begin to see parts of it, it feels like such a shock. It's felt like such a shock for me to discover it and to begin to understand what's been going on. So many aspects of our lives are just squashed down, not given the space that they need. It's time to bring equal value to these attributes. A nurturing, creative, intuitive way of being, alongside a logical, productive, linear way of being. We need a world that makes room for both. Not a world that values one over the other. All of us have all of this inside of us. And yet we've been encouraged to only see the logical, to only see the productive and the linear, to value these qualities and ignore our own ebb and flow. Ignore our intuition. And the time for that is past. It's been the way that we've operated for such a long time now. And we're getting ready to let go of that. To move on from that. And to value all qualities, masculine and feminine, equally. So even though I have this anger, that's okay. I'm going to allow this anger and this rage to inspire my creativity, to help me to find ways that I can create a new world. the small changes that I can make for myself and those around me, the places that I can influence the world. I'm going to allow this anger to create a new world. With equality for everyone. Take a deep breath. So there was quite a lot in that. You might want to take a moment now to make some notes about anything that came up for you, anything that came up on a personal level, anywhere that the patriarchy has had a particularly significant effect on your life. So if you want to do that, if you want to make some notes, do that now. If you want to explore further, we've got the second half of the video coming up. You can buy the full length video with the accompanying workbook from my website, so go and check that out if you would like to give that a go. And if not, I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you have any comments or questions or feedback, then do please get in touch, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.